Twisted Metal episodes 8 and 9 show viewers they really need to talk through their problems and just blow off some steam. Welcome to JBuck Studios, JBuck here, and let's running man into all of the crazy Easter eggs, video game references, and tiny little things you might have missed in Twisted Metal episodes 8 and 9. Things kick off with a flashback to Axel working as a baker in Old Orleans, Louisiana. A subtle shout out to a majority of the series being shot in New Orleans. We quickly learn that baker is a very loose term, as Axel is an undercover hitman receiving a job at 95 River Park Road, being a reference to the original Twisted Metal game's 1995 release date, and the fourth level of the original game being called River Park Rumble. Axel goes full-on Doom mode, eliminating everyone, only to realize a poor baby was collateral damage. More on this a little bit later, as John comes clean to quiet, saying he instead wished for Krista to come back to life, rather than the joint wish of between the two of all of the fortress city walls to come down. John, not cool, dude. Randomly, we do get to sit in on Sweet Tooth's physical, and sure, we know the guy is crazy.
But now I can see your nuts. I thank you.
Let's fast forward just a little bit, as the main horrors, spooky, of this episode is the announcement of a bonus round, as all of the drivers must survive until morning, avoiding death from these soulless, cyborg-looking crash test dummy assassins. Now, initially I was like, oh, cool. They're weaving in the refs from the original game who would actively, try to kill any of the contestants that they saw in their line of sight. But no. These mofos are an even deeper cut, calling themselves the Apocalypse 9.
Who?
Come on, the Apocalypse 9? Anyone? These guys were a cut subplot from the original Twisted Metal game and supposed to be the game's final boss, as they were described as one of the toughest street gangs in Los Angeles. It said that they had broken out of prison a year before the events of the game, and their main mission was to steal a prototype XJ-39 mind tank, a tank literally controlled by the mind like some sort of post-apocalyptic Charles Xavier. The tank is the same that later is driven by Minion, as late in development they swapped him out as the final boss. However, a few live-action scenes of these jabronis still actually exist, and you decide whether or not cutting them was a good idea.
Get up! Oh, get up! I want to now! You are stupid! Oh, what are you looking at? Come on. You. Here! Come on. Where's Woody? What? Oh! Get up! Get up!
Apparently, these chaotic recruitment videos were going to play on the side of their mind tank while playing, which wouldn't have been distracting at all. There's also evidence to the theory that John Doe's Doomsday Gang in Twisted Metal Black were in fact this fabled Apocalypse 9, as they sought recognition and dominance, and their leader was bald. These dudes make a brutal introduction, giving Frostbite essentially what she wished for last week.
I wish to feel warm again.
If you remember, I mentioned a theory that all of the drivers' wishes will come true, but if they lose or get eliminated, it'll be the twisted monkey's paw version of their wish. For example, Chucky wanted to fly and then was thrown out of a window. Frostbite wanted to be warm, and she's heating up. So far, that seems to be the case, so throwing this out there, what if Krista comes back, but also has, amnesia like John Doe? Or all of the walls of the cities come down, but the cities fall alongside the walls. I'm just spitballing here, but it seems like Calypso's wish twists are at play. While half of the drivers avoid these Freddy Krueger dudes like Scooby and the gang, Stu, Mike, and Dave hold an intervention for Axel and his gas addiction due to his wife leaving him for his dad. Truthfully, the way they're trying to tie in some of these more serious moments but disguise them as something goofy and fun is interesting. There was the puberty talk last week, Sweet Tooth's nuts. Later on, oh, my generation had it harder than your generation. And now this, so thumbs up for creativity. Mayhem comes across a relic of the 90s, a fully functional talk boy, as many will recognize this from Home Alone 2.
Yes. Yes.
This voice-changing toy was originally made as a prop for the movie and then later sold as a toy that I know that my brother really wanted, but our parents weren't having it. She also mentions a Blockbuster. Now, Blockbuster Video was a chain of video rental stores that peaked in the 1990s and early 2000s, where people would go and rent movies and video games from an actual physical store. Yes, you had to actually physically go to the store and pick up what you were going to watch. It became a cultural icon of Friday night entertainment with thousands of locations worldwide. I probably didn't need to explain that, huh? Way off track. Axel comes in and saves the day, absolutely decimating the Apocalypse 9 members, all set to by the crash test dummies, ironically tying all of this together as they do kind of look like crash test dummies. Unfortunately, Dave is in the splash zone, having to give up his 90-day chip as his insatiable hunger for human flesh is about an episode away. Transition over to episode 9, as it's a major tone shift from the otherwise teen slasher vibes of episode 8, and instead leaning hard into the 90s aesthetic, referencing a handful of TV shows and movies from the same era, as the core of this episode is the major pillar of almost every 90s teen sitcom, Prom.
Let's party!
Calypso announces that it's the wintertide solstice, which already is a bit odd because the winter solstice is supposed to take place on December 21st, the shortest day and longest night of the year, but a few episodes ago, or days I guess, it was bright and sunny. I'm getting in the weeds here, but John and Quiet are allowed to change their wish, which I believe has a ripple effect at the end of this episode. Anyway, all of the contestants get ready for the ball. It's time for celebration. Sweet Tooth wears his same pink suit from Season 1, which was his new character design from Twisted Metal 3. The reason for the redesign is that 989 Studios took over for the Twisted Metal IP for 3 and 4, and instead leaned into a more light-hearted tone, hence his more game show clown look than the killer clown. Mike and Dave have matching orange and blue suits that were made famous by the duo of Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels in 1994's Dumb and Dumber.
What? I love you, man.
Stu's purple suit is probably trying to match Mike and Dave's, while leaning into Janice and Damien's purple suits from 2004's Mean Girls. Quiet's red dress smoke show reveals that your stereotypical mild hottie is now a super hottie trope from that same time, most familiar in 1999's She's All That. I personally thought Mayhem's outfit was Princess Peach, which can't be right, so if you know, please let me know in the comments. Before the festivities begin, Calypso has all of the contestants perform a blood ritual on what looks like an old oak tree, while revealing some of his potential backstory with this little Roanoke colony slip-up.
Dating back to the Roanoke colony. Now, back then,
He's trying to hide something, as the Roanoke colony in real life refers to two separate colonies established on Roanoke Island in 1585. The second is the more famous of the two, as overnight roughly 121 members of the colony mysteriously disappeared and still to this day were never found, and their ultimate fates remain unknown. So you can see Calypso is in some way connected to these disappearances and adds more to his allure. Maybe in the next 3 episodes dives further into his backstory. It's party time as all of the characters enjoy prom while falling into very familiar movie and television tropes like spiked punch bowls, new love, and the classic photo booth montage. Specific references are Vermin's She's All That beauty transformation, subtly hinted by her butterfly dress, as she falls into the same misunderstanding of the jock's bet in that movie. There's also the very familiar intimate interactions between her and Grimm as Jim and Michelle in American Pie.
So skeleton. Mama like. Give me that.
What's my name? Say my name, bitch!
Michelle.
Mike and Dave dance in a similar fashion as Kid and Play in 1990's House Party. Later, their hacky sack sports the pop culture phenom of the time, the cool S that everyone had on their notebooks back in elementary. The DJ spinning the jams is Club Kid, a London DJ rave-type party boy character added as a driver in Twisted Metal 3, cruising around in a smiley-faced Mini Coupe. And lastly, we see how Sweet Tooth views everyone, including his buddy Harold, who here gets a nice cameo appearance by 90s heartthrob and legend Devon Sawa, who you may recognize from such 90s classics like Casper, Wild America, and of course Final Destination. After a brief misunderstanding, Stu tries to make good with Dave, only to learn that he is reverted and is in fact eating people again. This is just a goofy slapstick interaction between the two, and I'll admit this, my brain is broken because I thought that this was mirroring Green Goblin and Spider-Man, the finale from Sam Raimi's 2002 movie. Like, the Green Goblin creeping, mount up, and then jumping out of the way right at the last second. I watch way too much TV, as Dave's demise once again falls into my theory of everyone's wish is going to come true, good or bad. Because we know how Dave goes out here, but let's go back to episode 7 and listen what he says.
I told my bestie over here, I was like, I don't want the pressure. You make the wish. I don't want to be on the hook for it.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal.
Calypso gasses them all right as Axel remembers that the baby that he saved all those years ago was Mayhem. I'm curious how this will affect the next round. He'll probably sacrifice himself for Mayhem. Anyway, we get a quick glimpse of what the next episode has in store, featuring colorful Watkins storms. These were violent electrical storms in the Watkins Harbor area from TM 2012, caused by an explosion of a nuclear reactor. So fingers crossed for some big action, because all of these towers look like the lightning weapon locations from Twisted Metal 2. It's also interesting that John and Quiet are separated, possibly because of their differing wishes. But don't get too excited for a new car reveal, because the reflection on the windshield, I think that these are just two of the same car, essentially two roadkills. That's everything in episode 8 and 9. I'm not going to say that these were filler episodes, because some interesting dynamics and backstory are revealed, but man, we gotta get back into the cars. Also a small bugaboo, but the lighting in these episodes was way too dark for my own liking at times. I'm staying optimistic for the next final, or the final 3 episodes, and really have no clue where they're gonna, who's gonna win the tournament. The easy bet is gonna be John or Quiet, but I really hope that they get weird with things and somehow a rando wins it. Drop all of your thoughts on these latest 2 episodes. What did you like? What did you not like? Who do you think or want to win the tournament? Let's hear it all. And feel free to subscribe and like, as it really helps out the channel. It's just me. I'm all alone here. And of course, if you spotted any Easter eggs or references that I missed, drop them down below. All right, peace out, and next week, the finale.